Today's read aloud is Zacks Alligator. This is a story I remember reading when I was a kid, and it just has always stuck with me as one of those stories that is really enjoyable to listen to. So I hope you enjoy the story. A big box came in the mail for Zack. It was from Zack's Uncle Jim in Florida. Zack shook the box. What could it be, he wondered. He untied the bow and ripped off the paper. There was another box inside. Zack lifted the lid. Inside was an alligator keychain with a note from Uncle Jim. It said, "Dear Zack, here's a present for you. Have fun. Love, your Uncle Jim. P.S. Water Bridges." Or Water Bridget. Zack held up the keychain. "This must be Bridget," he said. Zack put Bridget in the sink and turned on the faucet. Bridget began to move. Her head turned, her tail curled. Bridget grew bigger and bigger. Soon, she filled the sink. Zack moved Bridget to the tub and turned on the shower. Bridget stretched and sighed. "That feels so good," she said. Zack watched. Bridget grew larger and larger. She grew out of the tub and over the side. Bridget moaned and groaned and whipped her tail. She splashed water everywhere. "What's going on in there?" called Zack's mother. "I'm watering the alligator," said Zack. "Alligator? What alligator?" The one Uncle Jim sent," Zack said. He heard his mother laugh. "I see," she said. "Well, clean up when you're done." "I will," said Zack. Bridget crawled out of the tub and onto the floor. "I am hungry," she said. "Do you have any fish?" "Well, I don't know," said Zack. "Let's go see." Bridget followed Zack down the stairs and into the kitchen. Zack opened the refrigerator door. "No fish," said Bridget. "No," said Zack, "no fish. But here's some meatloaf." "I can fix you a meatloaf special." "What's that?" asked Bridget. "A surprise," said Zack. "I love surprises," said Bridget. He was making his meatloaf special. Meatloaf, peanut butter, mustard, banana, and a couple of pickles. "Zack, what are you doing?" asked his mother. "I'm fixing some meatloaf for Bridget." "Who's Bridget?" "The alligator," said Zack. "Oh, of course," said Mother. "Well, save some for dinner." "I will," said Zack. That is a cool picture. Meatloaf special. Look at Bridget in the background just peeking. Suddenly, Bridget jumped up from the sofa. "Time for a walk," she said. Bridget wobbled to the door. Zack followed. Bridget's long tail knocked over a chair and some books off a table. Outside, Bridget was wrestling with the garden hose. "I will get you," she growled. She gave the hose a big bite. Water squirted everywhere. Zack ran to turn off the water. "That snake will not bother anyone ever again," said Bridget. Zack sighed and shook his head. Bridget took off down the sidewalk. Zack followed. Just then, the mailman pulled up in his truck. "What is that?" cried Bridget. Before Zack could answer, Bridget attacked. She bit the tire of the truck. Air hissed out. That Bridget, she's a mean one. "Dogs are bad enough," shouted the mailman, "but I can't handle this. No, sir, not alligators." The mailman jumped into his truck and drove away with the flat tire. Clump, clump, clump. Bridget shook her head. "I'm glad we don't have those in the glades," she said. Zack tried to say something, but Bridget was off again. Next, Bridget ran to the merry-go-round. Round and round she went. Bridget began to sing. "Oh, I am a gator from the glades, and I can do anything, and I mean anything." The woman took one look at Bridget and picked up her dog. "Come on, Poopsie," she said. "Let Mama take you home." Bridget did a cartwheel. "Who would want a fuzzy wuzzy anyway?" she said. "I'm thirsty, not hungry." Bridget did a quick 1-2 and hop-skipped to the fountain. She drank big gulps of water. Zack and Turk watched. "Will you bring Bridget to school?" asked Turk. "I don't know," said Zack. A policeman came over. "You need a leash for that alligator," he said. "There's a law, you know." "Yes, sir," said Zack. The policeman frowned. "Well, keep him under control." "Him?" cried Bridget. "Well, I beg his pardon. How rude. Hasn't he ever seen a girl gator before?" "You should bring her to school," said Turk. "Maybe," said Zack. Zack and Turk rode Bridget around the park. Suddenly, Bridget started to shrink. "I need more water," she said. Zack and Turk helped her to the fountain. Bridget slurped the cool water. "This place is too dry," she said. "In the glades there's plenty of water, and moss and tall grass." "What are the glades?" asked Turk. "The Everglades," said Zack. "They're in Florida where my Uncle Jim lives." "Do you think he could send me an alligator?" asked Turk. "I don't know," said Zack. "I'll ask him, though." "That'd be great," said Turk. "We have to go now," said Zack. "Don't forget to bring Bridget to school," yelled Turk. "Oh, please," Bridget said to Zack. "I want to see what school is like." "We will see," said Zack. On the way home, Bridget was shrinking more and more. She looked up at Zack with big, shiny alligator eyes. "Will you water me again?" she asked. "I'll water you every day," said Zack. "Good," said Bridget. Bridget was getting smaller and smaller. She bobbed her head up and down and began singing, "I'm a gator from the glades and I like to have fun every day." Oh yeah. When they got home, Bridget was keychain size. Zack put her safely in his pocket. "Hello," said Zack's father. "Your mother said you were out with the alligator. May I see it?" "Yes, sir," said Zack. Zack pulled out his keychain with a small alligator hanging from it. "That's very nice," said his father. "Now go wash up for dinner." Zack put Bridget back in his pocket. "Zack," called Mother. "Dinner's ready." "I'm coming," Zack called back. Zack felt Bridget move. There she is in his pocket. That's the end of the story. In your writing journal today, your writing response, I want if you could pick any animal to have as a pet, what would you pick and why? So in your writing journal, tell me what animal you would pick and why. Don't forget to use capital letters, punctuation marks, and try your best on spelling.